Hi, and welcome to SimpleSpiritualityPH. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Regine. I'm an intuitive tarot reader, I'm a Reiki healer, and an overall lightworker. Now, before we dive into today's episode, which is a quick unboxing of the Zombie Tarot, just in time for Halloween, actually post-Halloween because it's already November 1, I would like to invite everyone who would like to receive notifications of my videos to please subscribe down below. If you have any comments, suggestions, just want to say hey, please comment down below. Later on, like this video, hit the thumbs up, and if you would like your very own tarot reading or Reiki healing session with me, face-to-face or live, simply email me here. And I do have a Facebook account for Simple Spirituality, and I will link it down here. And I apologize for all the dogs, all the dogs are going crazy, as I've said in some of my videos. I live in a very pet-friendly community, so you will hear chickens, bats, dogs, cats, all that sort. Now, today, let us dive into, let me come closer, the Zombie Tarot. So this is what it looks like. I've had this for a while. I think I've had this for almost 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. And at first I was afraid to actually use it because some people might find it intimidating. This is actually my very first tarot deck, and it was given to me as a Christmas gift. And it's really it's really the first kind of hardcore tarot deck that I ever got. So, that I ever owned actually. So let's unbox it. That's what I'm doing now. This is what it looks like, just a plain box on the inside. And, this is what it looks like. You'll see. This is the booklet actually, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this is the booklet. It's different from other booklets because most booklets are vertical, right? This is more of a horizontal kind, and I do appreciate that it is in color and it has that old rustic kind of feel to it, and I have to say that the artwork on this is amazing. At first it looks very intimidating to read, but if you're a seasoned tarot reader, it's actually one of the easiest reads ever. And this is what they look like. These are the cards. These are what they look like. And they're not really reversible, meaning to say that because they do have an upright back to them, you'll already know, like this one, you'll already know when it's in reverse. So this is what they look like. This is what the back side looks like, right side up. And this is what they look like when it's in reverse. Yeah? Okay. So many dogs, as you can hear. They're all getting a riot. And the inside is actually just this. It's kind of a velvety, it has a velvety feel to it. And it is elevated. This deck actually just looks heavy, but it's not. Except for, well, the actual cards, the cardstock. Oh, that sounds good. The cardstock is very firm. See, you can't you can't bend them too much, as you can see. But I do like it because it's very smooth to shuffle it in this way. So they just glide through like that. Okay, and without further ado, let's go with, come closer to you guys, and without further ado, let's go through a quick, flip through of them. Now, this is a complete tarot deck. And as I said, I've already opened this. This has been with me for a while now, so you won't find this in order. But this is actually a complete tarot deck. So it has all the major and minor arcana in it, but you will find that they aren't, they're not conventional. Like, for example, Hazard. Actually, I forget what Hazard is. I think it's Pentacles, if I'm not mistaken. Swords are swords. Oh, this is a major. The Chariot. Still swords. And here you have, I think, oh no, it's still swords. And I think, yeah, I think the hazard is you have the wands here. I think the hazard is, if I'm not mistaken, the pentacles. Okay, we'll check later on. So here we have the wands. Yes, we have the cups. Still the same. The cups. The artwork is pretty stunning, you know. It's actually a beautiful hermit card. It's like you're really relaxed in the time of the apocalypse. It's funny. There's also a bit of humor here, you know. So as we go along, you can actually see, you can actually gauge whether it's for you or not. I mean, for you in a sense that whether you can read it easily or not. I have to be honest, when I first received these cards, I didn't start reading with them. I didn't learn tarot. I didn't get into tarot with these cards. I actually learned with the Rider-Waite, which is like the universal tarot deck for all in general. Oh, it's upright. Now, a lot of tarot decks, they act like languages. So it's kind of like Rider-Waite. One of my cousins who really got me into tarot, who really, really opened the world for me, he said that basically the Rider-Waite is like English. It's mostly the most universal tarot deck, and branching out is kind of like learning new languages. It's learning how to speak new languages, because not a lot of people resonate with certain decks. Like, for example, I don't think this resonates with a lot of people, actually, apart from the fact that some people are afraid of zombies, or they don't really like zombies, aren't their cup of tea. And the images here are very, oh, I love this card. I super love the Lover's card here. And the images here are kind of, they're not really positive, but they're not negative either. It's just that they look very kitsch, actually, to be honest. But they are quite, once you get the hang of it, once you go past the fact that they are about a zombie apocalypse, you know, they're actually pretty fun to read. So yeah, this deck took me a while. I didn't touch it at least for a year until like after I learned tarot, you know? It was only when I was really open, when I really consciously opened my intuition, that it became so easy for me to read. Other than that, I would never have been able to read this deck. But it is, as you can see, it's a very saturated kind of deck. It has an old school feel to it, old school rustic kind of feel to it, and it has a lot of humor embedded in it. So even though even though if the depiction is actually of a zombie apocalypse, you kind of get the humor goes through it, you know? And they're very easy to read once you get the hang of it, once you dive deep into tarot. Cups. I'm sorry for the reflection. Oh, this is me. This is my significator. Priestess. What's your significator? Comment down below. Oh, I love this. It's so cute. It's actually also the it's the Fool. And we're nearing the last leg. you would actually think that this deck would be very gory, but it's not that gory because of the rustic feel of the artwork. You know, it has a very, actually it has a sepia thing going on. If you can see it, the card is not white. The borders are not white. It has a sepia thing going on. I love this. So yeah, you do feel the energy of humor in it as well as we go through. And that's it. So, my thoughts on this deck. I love, well, again, maybe let's start with the cons this time. Well, the cons of this deck is, it is half intuitive, half booklet. You know what I'm saying? If you're not a seasoned tarot reader, or if you're not used to reading off the bat intuitively, you will have a little trouble reading this deck. In the beginning, when I was starting out, when I didn't really tap into my intuition, I had that problem. I would see the card and then I would just see the illustration and not really go deep into it. So it does require some kind of deeper, no, not deeper, it requires experience rather, because a more seasoned tarot reader is quicker to interpret the illustration the moment a card gets down or is laid out on the table. Now, if you haven't been reading tarot for that long, you might also find it a little bit difficult to be starting out with this deck, Not to say that you're not going to be able to read it, but maybe just the difficulty of how, the pace rather, of how the deck is going to unveil itself to you will be a little bit slow. And again, as I've said, I actually started out with Rider-Waite. Maybe you can start with Rider-Waite first. Don't make this definitely your first deck when you're learning tarot. And I actually do have I actually do sometimes still read with Rider-Waite, even though I don't resonate with it most of the time. But for this deck, actually, I also find that for public readings, it's not really the best one to bring with you. Simply because, again, when you're a tarot reader, you have to be sensitive to the people, to the people's questions. And some of these artworks, again, even though they're pretty whimsical, like this one, even though they're whimsical, you never know when people are, whenever you get a client who is afraid of zombies or who just doesn't like apocalypse type themes, some people might be afraid of that. So I would also suggest for you to steer clear of using this during public readings, or when you're reading for a lot of people and you don't know what kind of art they appreciate, what kind of fears they have, what kind of people there are in general. As a tarot reader, you always want to leave people with a sense of empowerment. That's one thing that people come to us for. Not just answers, but a sense of empowerment. That they can do it. That this is a situation that is that you are giving them a sense of light in their situation. That's why they come to you in the first place, for clarity, right? So if it's that kind of reading, definitely I would steer clear from this. Now, if it's a reading like, for example, a Halloween type of reading, or you're kind of sure about the kind of audience that you have, or your kind of people that you're going to read for, and you've gone through this deck for a while, then by all means, that's when you use it. Now, pros, I realize that wasn't a con or a pro necessarily, but okay, so pros is, I love this cardstock. It feels very luxurious to me, it feels like it's a well thought of cardstock, and it's very, you can hear that, oh, that's so lovely. And 2 cards came out. It is the Hanged Man and 9 of Wands. They want to be read, I'll read them later on. And I also actually appreciate this. This booklet feels very luxurious to me as well. And I like that it has, you know, these little, you know how when oracle cards have those quick like definitions, they also have that, as you can see. Like there's the star and the tower and, you know, King of Cups. Every card has this little caption here. So it makes it a lot easier. Let's say, for example, you're doing a really quick reading and you're like, what does it mean again? You can just simply go to the page and have like the first part of it just explained to you, you know? I also appreciate this box. It's a very luxurious box. Overall, actually, this is one of the most luxurious card decks, tarot decks that I have. Luxurious meaning they really thought of everything. From the matte-ness, because as you can see, it's very matte. It's very, the shine is, well, there's no shine, but there, it's very matte. It's very, you know, the card, it's very full. You can hear it playing. It's very full. The artwork is beautiful, as you can see, and the explanations are actually very well written, and it's very straightforward, actually. So you don't have to like confuse this for another, confuse one card for another, and all that stuff. And as you get into tarot reading, more into this deck, you'll actually find that it's easier and easier to read, you know? So it does reveal itself, and once it does, then it's going to be so easy to read. Okay, so that's actually my 2 cents worth. They're actually just really thoughts and opinions about this deck, and I will be using this deck actually for the next weekly reading for November. What is it? It is November 3 to November 9. Yes, November 3 to November 9. Okay? Yeah, so that's it. So thank you for being with me today, and if you'd like to receive notifications, please just hit the subscribe button below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you have any comments or suggestions, you know, for me, just comment down below. And if you would like your very own tarot reading, you can request me to read you with a zombie tarot. If you would like your very own tarot reading or Reiki healing session with me, I will leave my email down here. And please do go on my Facebook page, and it is right here. All right, so I'll see you next time. Bye.